join me for the pledge, and we'll get this thing started. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So at this time, I would like to officially open up the meeting of the Fort Eaton Town Board for February 8th, 2021. And we'd like to start off with a moment of silence for some of our deceased residents in Fort Eaton. A Nora Madison Phillips. She was originally from Fort Eaton, lived here for many years. She's passed away. And then Marion Day. She passed away back in October of 2020, and somehow it just hit the paper. We just were made aware of that. So if we could just have a moment of silence for those individuals and any that other ones that we may know have passed recently. Thank you. First on our agenda would be the opening of the meeting, which we just did. Approve the meeting agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the meeting agenda? Got a Michael, do we have a second? Second. George, any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Accept minutes of reorganization and your regular town board meeting for 1/11/2021. Hopefully we've had a chance to review those, and if so, if I could have a motion to accept.
So moved.
Gretchen and George seconds. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. If I could have a motion to accept the minutes from the annual audit that was done on January 14th, 2021.
I'll make that motion.
Debbie makes the motion. Do we have Michael seconds? Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And
You have it, or you can
No,
just...
that- thank you, yep. I gave you the copy that I signed.
Yes, the one you signed, yeah.
Where the hell did that go? Okay. All right, so now the financial report for December 2020. So in the general fund, we have $222,352.90. The highway funds shows a balance of $48,922.46. The youth commission fund shows a balance of $8,739.15. The Hadlock Dam project shows a balance of $240.09. The Hadlock Park District Fund is at $3,513.57. The Consolidated Health District remains the same at $370.48. The Trust and Agency Fund, $2,156.65. The Medical Reimbursement Fund, $3,683.02. And then we move over to our savings accounts. With NICLAS, the general fund is $98,200.15. The NICLAS Highway Fund, $212,318.58. And NICLAS Hadlock Dam Park District, $95,690.70. And then the LoSAP would be $2,499.78. And that's the balances that we have.
Did you want the checking account? Sometimes you need the savings and the checking, right?
What's the check? I know the ticket's on the back sheet here. So, yeah, that was the checkbook balances that I gave.
Oh,
Those were
okay.
the checkbook balances.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. You have a motion to accept the financial report.
Make that motion.
Goes to Mike. Do we have a second?
Second.
Deb, there's a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Authorized for the payments of the bills. Can I have a motion to approve the payments of the bills? Gretchen, do we have a second? George, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Public comment, agenda items. Do we have any public comments? I don't believe so. I don't believe anybody was here to do that, so we'll move on to to the reports from the town officials and committees. And we'll start with myself. Where to begin? I asked that Barb make a copy of this thing, this letter from TGA, Clean Energy. They're interested in talking about possible pilot programs and moving some solar farms within the town of Fort Ann. They'd like to come and do a presentation for us, and I told them that if it could be just one of them, we could do that, but if there's going to be multiple, we wouldn't. And we'd have to schedule a time to do that. So whatever we feel we should do. I don't know right now if we have any wind farms in front of the, or solar farms, excuse me, in front of the planning board. I know there's one, I don't know if it's, how far it's got, if it has got to that stage yet, but I know they're dealing with, up on Hawk Road, they're looking at one. Their conversation is maybe another one interested up on County Route 16, up Michael's Way there on the main road going up on County Route 16. So it does not cost you a single dollar, and you receive a $2,000 payment when you sign the lease option. Yeah, right. So I think everybody's had a chance to read this. If we think it would be advantageous for us to get a little more, because they are coming, the solar farms are coming up, they are getting more involved. I was going to see if there was some way we might be able to do this, even if it was from here for the board members, and the planning board members that could or couldn't do it by Zoom. See if we could Zoom it somehow to let them, I think it's a good learning experience for the planning board as well. I don't know how much expertise or understanding they have over the solar system and solar farms, and give them an opportunity to answer some questions they may have, because at some point in time they're going to need to review these applications for these things. So, I mean, maybe George or Jeff can comment on that, I don't know. If they've had anything come before the planning board that you're aware of, George?
It was just the one on Hawk Road, and it was really just a tax map showing there could be an array here, and to get a copy of the law and more or less introduce themselves to the planning board, but it hasn't, I don't think any formal applications have been submitted that we've seen, so.
All right. Do you think that, I'll ask George too, but Chad, you're on the planning board, would you see any advantage for him to come and explain the process? What
Can you repeat that again, Sam?
do you think it would be advantageous for the planning board to have them come to a meeting, not just specifically necessarily talk about their project?
I think it would, and I also believe that the biggest problem could be with these solar farms or of any major portion of a solar project is the reclamation. But I don't believe that they're giving us honest figures on what it would take to actually disassemble one and legally get rid of it. Because nobody knows what to do with the stuff currently. So any education would be good.
Okay.
Do they have a spot picked out?
I believe they do on Hawk Road somewhere up there. They had an overview map of it.
Yeah, Hawk Road does. I don't know about these folks.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the same.
It's a different company.
Okay. But they're all going to be asking about the same thing. They're going to be asking for the length of the lease, the yearly rental. They're looking for tax breaks they can agree on for a certain amount of time to fix and get to recap. But, you know, I think it would be interesting for the board. I also think it would be to the advantage of the planning board to do this, because there's a lot of credits and stuff when they come and talk to us about that they're giving back from the state and the feds to put these things up. So it's not, you know, we think it's me on the tax side,
Right.
but you know, they're being offset on the credit side for investments as well. So if you like, I'll see if I can put something together for us to have maybe a joint meeting, so you only got to come and do one presentation.
It will be a learning experience.
Yeah, is that acceptable for everybody? You want to try doing that?
Okay.
We'll see what we can put together on that then. Next thing I have was I asked Barb to provide you with a copy of an email that I had originally received. She received a copy of, and I received a copy of, from this James Buno. James is with the company that we had the contract with us for the fixed rate of electricity that we're getting, power again for this building and for the town facilities, the town shed. As you can see, 2 years ago, we switched over the town's electric to a fixed rate and pre-bought what you would use. For the most part, this is for stability, so you know exactly what you would pay and wouldn't have crazy rates like you have in the past. However, when they locked it in at .062, they ended up saving the town $1,002 over the past 24 months in comparison to if you were with National Grid. The current 3-year pricing for Monday and Tuesday's winning bid is 06369 for all of your accounts. Let me know if this is something you would like to move forward with. I think we should probably discuss this and see. I think that, you know, they showed us what we saved over the first 24 months of the contract. But now they're raising the price, so that means that even though they're raising the price, we're not going to save anything over it. So we're not going to be saving anything anymore from that perspective, unless their rates are much better than National Grid's right now, and I don't know if that could change over the course of time or not. But it is a slight thing. It's up like what, it's up about a penny and a half, I guess.
Yeah.
Over 2 cents more than what it was previously. So is this something we think we're interested in pursuing? And ask them to give us some information on what the savings would be and what National Grid may be doing with their rates, or I think it's served us well, quite frankly. You know, based on what we have, I don't think we can look for a lot of savings going forward. I think most of it was in the first year, because we saved over the first 24 months. And if you're raising the price, I don't know how you're going to be saving anything from there going forward, from that perspective, what we saved the first 24 months. So, would you like to see if we can have them put something together for us to present?
Yeah.
Everybody agree with that? Darcy, you okay with that? So, another project to do, we're doing that as well. One of the things I received here, we'll do this now. We'll present this to the town clerk for her safekeeping, or whatever she thinks appropriate to do with it. But for the United States Census 2020, it's a thank you. The U.S. Census Bureau hereby recognizes Town of Fort Anne as an invaluable member of the 2020 Census Community Partnership and Engagement Program. We appreciate the efforts you made in making the partnership program a success and help us achieve a successful 2020 census. That's what they had forwarded to us. So, okay, Barb?
I have a
But
census.
you have that for safety?
20 Yes, I have a census 2020 folder, so
Okay.
we'll put it right in there. Thank you.
The report for the harvester, that's a report that we will send up. Now, the harvester does not have to have the permit renewed every year. Okay? It doesn't have to be done every 2 years, doesn't have to be done every 3 years. It has to be done whenever we make a change to the process, or if we just to neglect to do them, then they may ask us to do the whole permit process over. But the only requirement that's in there is that we do the report and submit that by the 28th of. So information we had on that previously was erroneous. That we had to, we had to renew the permit. I read the permit and I thought we had to, but he says, no, if you go down into your sections here, that's when it says something else. So all we have to do is maintain the report as we speak, and there's no permit to have to require.
So the report you were given the other day is what you want?
Yes, and they got something else about the barriers.
Yeah.
And there's some other stuff I'll have to craft to see how to write them up. Can't find the report anywhere. All I can find is, well, I should say that. I can find the portion of the report that I shared with George, which was the weights and where in the lake they were doing it. But the actual written thing that would have probably gone with it, I can't. We've been through everything. Rich said that's what he had, that he thought to just set that up, but
Yeah.
don't know for sure where we're going to go with that. But I do know that we do not need to do a permit renewal. We're good to go. Along that line. So, yeah, that was a big relief.
Yeah, it's an understatement.
Along that, I think what maybe we can consider doing this year as we get a little bit further along, is as long as you already have, again, apparently there was a myth that they can only check these things out for the harvester when it was in the water. I guess that's not the case. Supposedly because it's out of the water and its engine is not cooled by the water, that it can be started up. They can check the rotor blades, they can check the pressure lines, and all those things. That maintenance can be done before we put it in, rather than having to have it taken it back out and on occasion
Right.
take it out. So that may be something George will try to put in place as well. See if we can get all that stuff done before they actually get it in the
They
water.
intend to, and the new pump is here,
Beautiful.
and Dave just, and Boot Junior there will be putting it in the springtime.
Good.
They gotta do a little work on the, they got a name for it, it's like a side, a cutter blade,
Uh-huh.
and that's about it.
Beautiful.
You know, other than their normal maintenance.
Yep. Good. Good.
Good.
So, yeah, it appears from what I've seen on the report that it's got all the information they were asking for at the Adirondack Park Agency, so we should be good on that aspect. It was just the written stuff, I have to do it now,
Yeah.
but I don't have a sample to go by. Because what I did was when I called up the APA, I called them up and I said, where do I find these forms? Is there something on the website? And the guy started laughing. He says, there is no forms. Oh, okay. I thought we had to renew this. No, he said, I worked on it. Well, I don't think you did. I said, okay, then I
We won't argue that.
no, exactly. I got some wrong information here, so we'll get moving in that direction, so.
That's excellent. Next year, we won't be under so much pressure.
Exactly.
Be able to start it earlier.
And, yeah, so we'll be good to go. We can get right in and get started right away in the June timeframe, and we'll be off and running.
Now, there's something else we've been chewing on, being you have the subject in
Yep.
here. I used to leave the harvester in the pond every year, up on like a little dry dock. Do you want to consider doing that again?
Sure, whatever's gonna,
It's gonna save you at least $3,600 a year.
yep, if you have a place to do it.
We have a couple of sites we want to work on. And the big thing is just be able to get a little bit of cribbing there so it's not sitting in the
Yeah.
mud, but not have the cribbing float away. It's all in the timing. Yeah.
Yeah, they used to leave it up there, and then
Yes.
they started taking it and bringing it down. I don't know why that transpired, I don't know. Somebody sold a lot that they had it on, maybe, I don't know, who the hell knows? But if we can find a place to do that, that would make sense.
We have a couple of sites already, but we
Okay.
just want to make sure they're going to work out.
Okay, very good. And I will say, and I want to pay George his compliments to George, because since he's been appointed to do that, the calls have dropped off tremendously. We do have communication going back and forth before the Hadlock Association and the town board, and George reports to us here on a weekly basis. We talk to him on a weekly basis or monthly, whatever it should be, and I think it's working out well, don't you, George?
I did too. I expect in the spring to get a little noise, but not much.
Yeah. It's,
If anybody makes noise, they're more than welcome to join and help.
yes. Keith does some of the chirping, doesn't it? Okay. And the other thing I'll touch on is the COVID rate, the COVID vaccines. We did have some clinics that they ran at the county for the 65 and older. We have not got any more vaccines for that. Just the way it works is the Department of Health sends out the vaccine and they tell you what age categories it can be utilized in. So when he first sent it out, we didn't have that available. It just sent it out for the 1As and the 1Bs. And 1Bs being your essential workers and those types of things. So we did those, and then because the public's complaining, the government decided to send out some to do for the 65s and older for the elderly. So we've done that. So we have administered today, doesn't seem like a lot, but for a county of our size, vaccinations actually in the arm are about 1,600. And then we're going to be doing the disability individuals that live in the housings. We're going to be doing those for the county Thursday night. We'll start those this Thursday night. Then on the weekend, we'll be doing another 200 of the 1B categories, the firemen, the first responders, those types of things. And then the following week, it'll get even more complicated because then we have to do 600 plus another 200 they send us. And so what happens, as crazy as it is, that they tell you when they're gonna send it, but until we get it, we try not to schedule it out there, so we have to call everybody and tell them that you're not gonna have it. But it just keeps multiplying, because now you have to have a second shot.
Right.
So as you know, what was originally 300, and then 300 next day, so that's 600, but now they said we send you other vaccine that you gotta use in addition to that to start a new series. So it just, as it rolls over, and you can't use it from one to the other. You can't use it from one category to another. You have to use it strictly within those categories. So that makes it even more confusing. Because some of the bottles are all the same, they're all supposed to be, they tell you there's 10 in there. Sometimes you get 10, sometimes you get 12, sometimes you get 9.5. It's just, you look at the bottles, you can tell that they're not all filled the same. So. But you don't know how much you're actually going to get in each bottle. So at the end, sometimes we'll be calling people, have a standby list, so we call people if they fit into that category, so they can get vaccine, get the vaccine out, because once you open the vial, you have to have it dispensed within the first hour. So there's not a long time that you've got to wait on it. So that's an interesting thing. Deb has indicated she was able to get into the writing or the Walgreens down there to get her scheduled. And we know that they had some coming, we just didn't know when they were going to be giving it and when they were going to be scheduling it. But I think we got a hint tonight, so I'll take that back and we'll get that out to our people and see
And
if
they
we
say if you're 75 and older and you don't know how to do a computer, call 211 and they'll set you
they'll
up.
set you up. Good.
So it's,
Good. I appreciate that info. Because we had it that they were going to be getting it, the only two in the county that were approved was those two Walgreens. And I'm interested to see how they do that though, because there's not a lot of room in there. And I don't know,
they give vaccines there, they'll have for quite a while. So.
yeah, but you don't have to wait for 15 minutes afterwards to get your vaccine.
No,
Plus,
there's a little waiting room thing.
yeah, plus, well, my concern is from a county perspective,
Yeah.
are they gonna have, you've got your aisles, where your aisles are set up. So no matter where you line them, there's product on both sides of those aisles. And if you're gonna have people lined up out the door, are you gonna have them socially distanced? Are they gonna have to, those kind of things. That's our public health person's perspective. Their department has to deal with that, so. But I think it's a good thing whenever we've got a place we can give them to, the more shots we can get out, the better off we're all gonna be. All right, so I don't think there's anything else that I had on my list to go over as we speak. So I will move on to the town board members, and we'll start with Deb, because she's right here.
No, I'm good.
Okay, Michael?
The only thing I've got is, next week I did sign up for, the Association of Towns. I signed up for their
Good.
online training this year,
Good.
so I'll be doing that. I think it's the 15th, 16th, and 17th, so
Okay, good.
hopefully I can gain some knowledge from that stuff. Yeah, that's about it. It's quiet.
Did you get a chance to just take a look at that?
Yes, touching on that, I did, and I've slowly there's a lot there, so I didn't realize there was as much there to all of that, and there's a lot of stuff there, but that's very helpful, because it looks like, given the demographic hasn't changed a ton, just some really useful information in there, and it looks like, I would say nowadays is probably similar to where people want to go, or back then was similar to where people would probably want to go nowadays, so so I'm slowly getting through that stuff, so.
Good, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I was
and
glad
we
to
all
have
have
that.
a copy of it to
Yeah.
take a look at, to see if we can see some things in there that concern us that we want to take a look at and see where we actually are.
Sure.
So George,
Other than what we discussed with Matlock, we're good.
Gretchen,
I don't have a lot tonight. I'm having a meeting with the Town Recreation Committee on Thursday at 1 o'clock at the library. And we're gonna go over the brochure that the town has, the walking tour of
oh good,
of what's available here. And we're gonna talk about getting the town ready for bicycle business. And see if we can be ready for bikes.
very good.
Absolutely.
Yep, that would be good. I mean, we have some places that they certainly could utilize, that it's,
Well, I've gone to some businesses and asked them if they want to join in with the bicycle spring business organization type thing, and it's free. It's
yes,
free advertisement, and they just simply have to be able to greet the bicyclists and
Let them use your
tell them what's
restrooms and-
available and be friendly. So it's pretty neat.
Okay, anybody else in town board? We all set then? I'll move on. Next item would be our town clerk, Barb.
The only thing I have to report is the town clerk, or I issued a check for only $170.35. It was my worst month in 8 years. But the good news is, we're already off to a better start for February.
Okay.
So, yeah, but
Good deal.
I felt bad. Usually I'm a little under 1,000 or a little over 1,000, so that was not good for January. But February's looking better.
Okay, the report is that I do know, it wasn't reported to me, but I do know that Paul got the new, 2 weeks ago, I think it was, they got the new truck in, the highway department, so that's up there and running. I don't have a report from Paul for today, of anything that was any different. As you can see, you've got your enforcement order report from our enforcement officer. Kind of speaks for itself. Building permit did 1 pole barn, 1 barn conversion, 1 shed, 1 pool, commercial renovation, 2 garages. And then his other specific things that he did throughout the months. And I have no report from our historian tonight either. It's been kind of quiet. New business, is there any new business to come before us tonight? Anybody got anything new? Where did it go? I had something I was gonna move up here. Oh, I think I already talked about that. Okay, and I just received today the Earth and Embankment Integrity Program from the New York State Canal Corporation. And if we want to participate in that, there's a link I can get onto to the web, so I'll take a look at that and see what that's about. Description of any proposed actions they're going to have and where it's going to start and where it's going to go to. I didn't see anything here specifically that affected our area here when I went through it real quick. I'll reread it again to see if there's anything in there a little more guidance on there than what I read it really fast when I read it here tonight when I got here. So that could be one other new thing that we may have. On this, the other thing that might be news. So on this, I know we started talking about this earlier, but that's what I got confused on now. So, do we want him, obviously we should have him do an explanation, but do we want to use a resolution that, for this, the power, that we can, if he can stick to that 06369, to go ahead and sign the contract with that? Everybody comfortable with that? It's a slight increase. And I don't see Niagara Mohawk, the National Grid going down at all. So, if I could have a motion to do that. Do you have a question, Deb?
No, I was just thinking something.
That's okay, go ahead.
Should we first ask National Grid, their estimate as to what the cost would be?
Yeah, that's what we do. I would check with him, but if this, I'll get the National Grid rates, and if they're higher, then I'm gonna suggest the resolution we go with this. Does that make sense?
Gotcha. Yep.
And then we can get it locked in. 'Cause he talks about the Monday and Tuesday when the bid is, and I don't know how long we have to, before we can accept that. So, if I could get a resolution that would authorize me to engage in this contract based on the fact, after conversation with National Grid, that the rate came in for less than what it is here, that we'll go ahead and execute that and get it going. Motion from Michael?
Make a motion, yes.
Second from George. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. So we'll work on wordsmithing that resolution.
Okay.
So that, so basically, it's a matter of me verifying with the National Grid what the rates would be, And if this rate is lower, then go ahead and do the 3-year. Provided this is the same rate. Now, if we talk to him, this rate goes up, his rate goes up a bunch, then we'll bring it back to the board and rediscuss it. Okay, any other new business? If not, we'll move on to resolutions.
Okay, I have resolution number 29 of 2021, adopting the auditing of the financial records of the town of Fort Anne. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Fort Anne has audited the financial records of the town clerk, tax collector, town justice, and supervisor for the fiscal year January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2020, at a special meeting held on January 14th, 2021, and hereby adopts the same.
Okay, do we have a motion?
So move.
George moves it. Do we have a second? Gretchen. Okay. Discussion. Any discussion? I just would like to say in discussion that I thought that the individuals, departments that were going to be audited did a good job of having their presentations done, having everything we needed there to go ahead and do those. And I think they're to be commended for that, because it's much easier to go ahead and do the day-to-day work. It's a much different thing trying to verify it at the end so everything balances out the way that it needs to. And I thought they did a good job on that. And I believe this would be a roll call, or?
Yes. Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Supervisor Hall,
Yes?
Councilwoman Stark,
Yes.
Councilman Sexton,
Yes.
and Councilwoman Withrow.
Yes.
Resolution number 30 of 2021, resolution to post town roads to 8 tons. Now therefore be it resolved that the Fort Anne Town Board hereby declares that all vehicles having a gross weight of over 8 tons shall be temporarily excluded from all town highways, and be it further resolved, the superintendent of highways for the town of Fort Anne is hereby authorized to post signs on all town highways and publish notice of the same.
Do we have a motion?
Make that motion.
Michael, do we have a second?
Second.
George? Any discussion?
I have a question. So, in the past, I was asked if there was any exceptions that were ever made to this. And I mean, I think it was coming from people that have logging businesses for their trucks. Do we ever make exceptions to that kind of stuff? And if so, who would they go through?
They would go through Paul,
Mm-hmm.
okay, first of all, to discuss it, and then they would probably end up coming back to us.
Okay.
I think that, I know in the last week, I've had 2 people ask about the heavier trucks coming out in the daytime and the damage they're doing to the roads,
Mm-hmm.
especially the big triaxle
Mm-hmm.
log trucks that have much more than the weight that's on them. And, then it's a matter of people seeing them so they can report them.
Okay.
And then, go through the process and get a ticket written if it's over the weights and getting the weight trucks there and stuff, but,
So if they have a question, that can direct them to Paul, and Paul can.
I
go
direct
from
them to
there
Paul,
and
yep.
See where it goes.
Yep.
Okay.
okay.
Is it my imagination, or do we seem to do this a little earlier each year?
I think we do a little bit earlier each year.
Yeah, I feel it was like April last year when we did it.
Yeah. So, I think we're doing it a little bit earlier each year. Based on what the road conditions seem to be, I think, and what the weather forecast seems to be, and, whatever the,
I do, man.
I think one of the reasons why it's earlier every year is all this does is authorize him to do it. So when the conditions warrant it, he can go out there and hang the signs as he needs.
Okay.
Oh, so that, agreeing to this doesn't mean he's gonna go do it next week?
No.
Not necessarily,
Oh,
he'll,
no.
he'll do it when, at the appropriate time, whenever, when the road conditions are there. So this, because they may change, I mean, we may get early frost or whatever, and and it gives him the option too, is if we get a lot of traffic, it's really messing up the roads, that he can post it, immediately at that point in time when he realizes it.
Sure.
So it is a safety kind of thing, but,
Yeah, he'll contact me to tell me when he's looked at the weather conditions, and he'll say, it could be the end of March or beginning of April before he says, okay, now you gotta run the ad. So,
Okay.
because he has to post it in the papers
Yeah.
as well, so
yeah,
that's part of the process.
yeah.
All right, so if there's no further discussion, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Public discussion. Anybody have anything for the public? Okay. Jeff, do you have anything that you want to, need to comment or bring up or remind us about or anything?
I don't know. Actually, that's not entirely true. Helen emailed me about LoSAP.
Yes.
The town board agreed to award LoSAP points relative to COVID.
Yes.
The original executive order said it's from whenever it was, March until September 7th. And then it officially ended per the executive order at the time. There have been subsequent executive orders that enabled it to be extended from September 7th through at least the end of January. I haven't checked to see if that number has moved again. But do you want to extend LoSAP during that window for the two fire companies?
I guess the question would be on the resolution itself, because I don't remember. I know we did a resolution. But
Right.
did that say, did it have a specified period of time, or was it kind of left open-ended? Do you remember, Jeff?
The resolution itself was, there wasn't enough gray area that I would feel comfortable advising the town that you're fine.
Okay.
It did say till September 7th. There was language about the potential of it being extended, but for the sake of clarity and for the sake of the program and the money and the firemen and women, it's cleaner just to remove all doubt.
Okay. So then for next meeting, could you have a resolution if the board agrees? Do we want to extend that? I think we should.
Yes.
You know, they can't obviously in some cases train and do things they need to do to be okay. Yeah, if you could draft up one and then kind of leave it open-ended so we haven't got to go through this.
Okay.
Okay,
I can do
if that works, we can word it that way somehow.
Yeah, I absolutely can.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, that'll take care of that then. And we'll discuss that at the next meeting. So at this point in time, I have nothing else to come before us as we speak. Oh yeah, I do have one thing I probably should comment on, and that's the sports situation. And the way that it has worked out. And there's a meeting down in Greenwich tonight, so I'm sure I'll be getting bothered with phone calls about that one too. But as you're aware, the high-risk sports have not been able to be started yet in Washington County. And that's because the governor had shifted that back to the responsibilities of the health departments within the state and or within the counties. And our county health physician says that based on things and the percentage that we still have of our rolling average, that for Washington County it's not safe for us to reopen those programs. There's a lot of pressure being put on from the school boards, for the school administrators. Are kind of waffling one way or the other. They don't, you know, I can't speak for them and I won't speak for them, but I kind of get the impression that the consensus overall from those that aren't directly involved with it is that we can't even keep kids in school for 5 days straight. Now how we're going to be able to, you know, run a program for the sports. I don't know where that's going to go. Okay, when you look at the calendars out there, you can see that in our neighboring counties, with the exception of Essex County, have all gone to some degree of being able to do the basketball and those kind of sports. I've had phone calls from all sides of the issue. I've had the ones whose parents say, you know, you're depriving my child of, you know, participating in sports and being able to play in a team, and you know, and it's bad for them mentally to not be able to play on a team. And you know, my comment is, well, don't you think it's bad mentally for those kids that got cut from the team that can't play? I don't see the correlation of, you know, why that's going to be the end all. I understand. So we're trying to do it as best we can with the guidance we have from our medical health thing. you know, it would be kind of, I look at that kind of from the same perspective here. If our attorney advises us not to do something for a certain reason, and we go ahead and do that, well, it's shame on us.
Yes.
But we can't sanction it if we're being told by our medical professionals no. So, I haven't heard a lot of, I've heard a couple comments at Fort Ann, but most of them have been along the line that, you know, we can't keep our kids in school. You know, or they're afraid of what's going to happen, is that we can be careful here, but what happens if you go to another team? And the pyramid effect of what goes on from that result. And let's say, and I'm just gonna use some towns, and I don't even know if they're still in our league or whatever. But so Fort Ann is a team that goes and plays Argyle on Monday night, because of the schedule I want to put together. Wednesday night, they're gonna play Hartford. And then Friday night, they're gonna play another team from another area. Don't know what team that may be, doesn't really matter at this point. But on Saturday, kid's feeling sick and he goes and he gets tested, and he's test positive. Well, now you've got all of those families and all those people and all those kids for all of those things, because it goes back 10 days, that they're going to have to contact and possibly quarantine, take the school out, maybe shut the school down, and all those types of things. So it has a pyramiding effect. It's not as simple as just saying, yeah, let's go and let the kids play. And so what we did was we put together I won't call it a contract, but because it's really not a contract. We put together some rules and regulations at the county level, knowing what to do. If you want us to open it up, this is what you have to do when the level gets to a certain thing. So when we get down to that 4%, if there's no other extenuating things that comes in, like the new strain is now 90% of what we're seeing, which is more contagious, then we'll be able to say, yeah, go ahead and do it. They've got the paperwork, just a matter of completing it and taking responsibility for the cleaning of the locker rooms, because most of it, the spread, is not the actual playing, it's the atmosphere in the locker rooms afterwards, and before getting ready and those types of things. So, just so if you hear any comments about it, that, you know, yeah, the county's being the bad guy only because the governor put it on us to be the bad guy.
Sure.
And when we talk to superintendents, the superintendents are in a hard place because they got some of their boards, like Whitehall, for example, said no, they don't want to play. You know, no, I take that back. Said they do want to play. And then Greenville said no, they don't want to play. Down in Greenwich, you're having a meeting tonight to see where they can go, and I get mails from them all every day of the week, from several of them down there, that, you know, want to continue playing. And I can understand your side of it. Okay, I can understand where they're coming from, but until the doctors at the county say it's safe to play, the board can't very well say go ahead and do it. You know, so.
I'll be honest, from the families I talk to in Fort Ann, I mean, my boys are included in that, they want to play sports in the worst way, sure. A lot of families in Fort Ann, they're relatively understanding that. We're in February. It'd be great to have whatever. Let's kind of focus on what the spring and summer bring and getting them outside and that kind of. So I think the Fort Ann families really have a good understanding that I've found so far of, you know, it's what you probably not going to be a possibility, and that's okay. And let's focus. I get that everybody else isn't that way, but I think the families locally in our town are doing, you know.
Well, yeah, it's hard on those students who are in their junior,
Sure
senior
it is.
years.
Sure it
It's going to be
Yeah,
a time frame, you know, they can't go back and replace in
right.
their history either, so,
What's the saying? Listen to the science, right?
yeah,
So,
unfortunately,
yeah.
there's not much more we can do in that. Okay, well, that's all I've got to offer up tonight, I guess. So if anyone else has nothing that they want to discuss, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
That makes it, we have a second. Second. George Smith, the second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you, everyone.